Shalom, it's Natalie Zangan, also known as Mother Goose. So today I wanted to do a Parsha review with you guys regarding the Parashat of Vayishlach, which is this week's Torah portion. And this is a very interesting Parsha because it speaks about Dina and Aviyat, Dina, the prophetess of Yaakov's daughter. Many of us know about Yaakov's 12 Shevatim, 12 boys, but not everybody knows about, not everybody might have learned or knows about Dina, the only main daughter that Yaakov had. So before we go to her story, I wanted to share with you guys that when Leah finds out that she was conceiving with with one of her actually, like, I think would be like this last pregnancy for her, right? One of the last pregnancies. So Leah knows in her Ruach HaKodesh, her prophecy, that this too is meant to be a boy. So she says to herself, having the utmost consideration that she can, that if I have 6 boys and we're destined to have 12 boys, that means that my sister is going to have only maybe one boy and the other one will go to the other woman. So she saw that in her Ruach HaKodesh. So she tells God, Dear HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, I want to have Hakarat Tov in my heart for what my sister did for me to allow me to marry her husband, to not and did not cause me to be embarrassed. I want the same thing for my sister Rachel. So please, God, please help us switch. Give me the daughter and give the boy pregnancy to my sister Rachel. And what happens? Leah ends up getting pregnant with Dina, and Rachel ends up being pregnant with Yosef. So how amazing and fascinating is this when that's about the switch, that we even see with their temperament how different they were. How Yosef had that softness attribute, had that tenderness, and Dina had more of a stronger personality and opinion. Dina, the word din comes from judgment, like, she had that like structure, more of like that masculine energy. So Yosef also, we should know that, a lot of times you say, describe to me a man that you value, that you respect, a man that has a authority, like, so the person might say strong, loyal, responsible, committed, structured, right? A crying man will never be part of this description of you explaining a strong man, right? Except in the Torah. The only person that was called a Sadiq in the Torah was who? Yosef HaSadiq. Nobody else, even Moshe Rabbeinu that got the Torah for us, was not called a Sadiq. So you wonder, what? Yosef? How come? And in the Torah, we learn about Yosef's Bechi, the cry of Yosef, more than 13 times in the Sefer Torah. So you wonder, these moms out there that tell their boys, you're not a baby, don't cry. Be a man, don't cry. Why are you crying like a baby? Big boys don't cry. Well, I'm here to tell you, maybe that's not the case, because Yosef, the Sadiq, when he felt that within the experience of sadness, he went to sadness, not to rage. He went to sadness and connected it back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and bechit to him. He cried when his mother died. He cried when he saw his brother. He cried when he held Binyamin. He cried when he saw his father died. He put his crown of royalty down and bowed down on his father and cried. When he passed his mother's kever, he cried. Yosef cried. Yosef was comfortable with his feeling of sadness and talking to God. That was Yosef HaSadiq. So next time you see your boys getting soft or tendered or uncomfortable, you tell them what's wrong and they start crying. You say, tell me what's going on. Talk to me about your sadness. Don't block it so that they go through life thinking the only 2 feelings boys are allowed to have is normal and anger. This is not healthy. So let's go back to Dina now. Dina, who was born to Leah. Leah, another strong character. She was assertive. She knew what she wanted. She prayed to God, don't let me marry Esav. Dina was a person of a very, very strong personality. And not only that, the Dina's father was Yaakov. And and who was Dina, Yaakov's mother? Rivka, another strong woman, a woman of kochot. And they say in the book of Mamzol, the Mamzole, it talks about like why did they say that Rivka went to the Beit Knesset, one would kick, and when she would go to the house of Avodah Zarah, another. What was Rivka doing there? What did she have there? Rivka was determined to share the words of Torah. Rivka wanted to share about Yahdut, about monotheism, about oneness of God. So Dina was the grandchild of that same energy level. Dina had a very strong character. So when they were living in Canaan, and this is another big lesson we learned from Dina, women need to have a good supportive system of other women around them to grow, to learn, to make a connection, whether they're girls, whether they're adolescents, whether they're midlife, whether they're seniors. Women need good, healthy female energy to be around them to grow and connect. Women yearn for that. So what does the parsha says? Dina, the daughter of Leah, comes to look out the tent and she sees the girls and says, Dina yotzet from the tent to meet the girls of the land. So Dina did not have any bad mind, did not have any pritzu, did not have any negativity. However, this is also a lesson for our girls. Always make sure to check with your parents before you follow your instinct. Try to speak to your mentor. Try to speak to someone who's older than you to know, because sometimes good friends could look good but have wrong intentions for you, and you will not know unless you ask and discuss it with an older, mature person. So Dina comes out to meet the girls of the land, to teach them Torah, to teach them mitzvot. And what happens? Little did she know, Shechem had a plan. Shechem comes and steals her and lies with her and is inappropriate with her without her consent. Shechem was a very self-centered, very driven. Whatever he wanted, he would get. However, the kedusha, the Torah, the mitzvot of Dina was so strong that says Shechem fell in love with her. Shechem loved her and wanted to marry her. She was so kodesh that even in this minimum of interaction, he falls in love with her and wants to marry her. So we see the kedusha of Dina and what kind of woman she was. Not only that, Shechem sends his father, go to Yaakov and tells Yaakov, Yaakov, your daughter has made a place in my son's heart. He wants to marry her. The brothers step in and say, how dare you do this to my sister? And again, Hashem condemns them for going into war and fighting them, but to step up is exactly what you do. You hear someone got wronged, you step up for them. You hear someone was mistreated, you step up for them. You don't just stay silent, is agreeing. So you stand up and you protest and you protect them. And another lesson we also learn here is that that Dina had a very pure heart, So like I said, that this affected Shechem. So he lies with her without her wanting, wants to marry her. Absolutely, she doesn't. And what happens? She conceives. She conceives and gets pregnant on a girl. And who was that girl? Her name was Osnat. Dina raises Osnat, teaches her Torah, whatever she could have. Dina, the righteous woman, does the best she could in raising Osnat. And what does Yaakov do? Yaakov sends Osnat to Mitzrayim. And who was in Mitzrayim? Yosef HaSadik. Yosef HaSadik was in Mitzrayim. And Yosef, back then it was permissible, marries his niece Osnat. The two of them work so hard in teaching him Torah, mitzvot. They raise one of the best kids and the brothers in the whole world. They invest time in them. They invest energy in them. What you invest in, you see, because the relationship makes all the difference. That when Yaakov comes to visit Yosef, he says, these boys are out of this world. That every Friday night, Your family, my family, many families commemorates and remembers them. The story my son said of when Yaakov switched his hand with Menashe and Ephraim. Because of the love and affection they got, Yaakov said, "How well have you raised these kids in such a land of galut?" But the achdut of Dina, the spirituality of Dina that led to conception of Osnat, that became the wife of Yosef HaSadik. Yosef HaSadik married Osnat. That was made out of that relationship, which teaches you doesn't matter where you come from, the pritzud or whatever you've overcome, the choices you make every day in your life affects your present and your future. Dina was a righteous woman with good intention in her mind, with derech eretz and kedusha. However, she sort of got tricked by the girls of the land. So you should always check before you just go out and follow your instinct as a woman. Make sure to always have a good, solid circle of friends around you, no matter what stage of life you're in. And make sure to always remember every Friday night when you hear the bracha and you hear Kemen Hashem Ephraim, you remember that those were Dina's grandkids, the mother of Osnat. And this is this week's parashat, Parashat Vayishlach, that when you do good, goodness doesn't go lost. And when you are holy and kedusha, your kedusha spreads in the universe, even amongst Rashaim or whatever it is. Your kedusha radiates and goes on. Dina was a righteous and a kodesh woman. Shabbat shalom. Do me a favor if you can. Share this Torah message. I have more videos on Natalie Zangon, and let's spread the true light and kedusha of what